Hi guys, I'm back again, and it's yelling at me. My computer's yelling at me. But I am back again, and I am here to talk about frosting with you. So here goes some frosting tip. All right, so first off, I have two different types of bags. This one is significantly larger than the other one. I choose to use disposable because I do not use any tips with mine. This one is much smaller. I have used a lot of different ones. I don't think it really matters. The small ones are nice if you're not using a lot of frosting. However, if you want to make a decent amount, then the larger one is probably better. You can also use Ziploc bags for this. It will work. It doesn't work quite as nice in my opinion, but it will work. So I wanted to show you first the consistencies of the frosting. So this is both the same exact recipe. And you can see that when I scoop in this one, it's actually rather thick. It leaves lots of lines in there. So it holds its shape. Okay, same recipe. But I made this one today, and there's bubbles in it for one thing. But you can also see it doesn't hold its shape as much. So this is proof that following the exact same recipe, sometimes you will still get two very different results. It's okay. I've learned to work with it, but don't be discouraged if your consistency looks like either one of mine or maybe something completely different. And I'm watching this one and it's like melting together. That's actually really good. This is more of the consistency we want, is this one than the other one, because when we flood, we want to be able the lines to disappear. My guess is that it's actually a little too thin though, just because right now if I tried to use this one, I know that it would probably run off the cookies because it disappeared. My lines pretty much disappeared completely. Whereas this one, I know that I'm going to need to add some water to it as I use it, because if you look right now, pretty much the same design I did a few minutes ago is still here. So I'm going to need to add some water to that. All right, so the first color I'm going to prepare is white frosting. For this example, I'm going to use the frosting that was in the purple bowl that's a little bit more liquidy. I know I'm going to use quite a bit of white because I'm making bunnies. I'm also making some Easter eggs, which will have some white on, some crosses that will have some white on. So all I'm doing right now is putting a couple pretty good sized scoops into my bowl. Okay. And a trick I learned is to use a dot of blue to make your white be a true white. So I'm going to do that, but before I do that, I have a little powdered sugar here, and I'm just going to mix in a real tiny bit. I don't want it too much. Also, you never want to over stir your frosting. So you're trying to stir it to mix it, but you're trying to not stir it to the point where you don't need to stir it for an hour. It's not necessary. Okay, and then now when I do this, and kind of drizzle it across, and I want to count to 15 to see if it mixes together, but yet like still holds its shape. And if it mixes together too much before that, then you probably have it too thin still. So I'm going to do that again because I wasn't counting. So I'm going to mix it up a little, and then I'm just going to swirl a little bit and watch my swirl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think that will be pretty good just from knowing from experience. That's about the consistency I want. Maybe a tiny bit thicker. So I might add just a pinch more of powdered sugar. But if you get it too thick, it's not going to come out of your bags very well. So be warned of that too. So I'm just going to put a little bit more in. Try to mix it up pretty good. That's more the consistency that I typically like. You will learn what consistency you like over time. It's totally, like I said, a preference thing. You don't want it to run off your cookies, but you also don't want it to be too thick because then it's not easy to work with either. So what I'm going to be adding here is I just have some blue, royal blue food coloring. I have all sorts of different food coloring. This is the gel. This is a cookie decorating tool. A toothpick will do the same job, but literally you are just getting the very tip and you're dipping the tip in. Maybe, hopefully got a little blue in there. And then you're mixing again. And at first you might say, oh my gosh, it's turning it blue. It's not. And if it does, that means you put too much in. But usually, with some mixing, you'll just get more of a true white, and it won't be see-through anymore. Which many of you, if you've ever made white frosting before, you might find that it's see-through. Now, I actually did put too much in, so mine actually looks more blue. This is why I usually start with white, so if it's not doing what I want, I got too much of blue and I didn't get just a dot, I can actually make this a different color because it's my first color, so who cares? And it might be hard to tell on the camera, but it does have a blue hue, so I want to make it into a different color. So I'm going to make that into my green. This is another kind of food coloring that I use. This is the Maricolor. It's a little more expensive than the Wilton, the first one I showed you, and you have to order online or get it at a bakery shop. Always start with a little, so usually I do 1 drop, unless I'm doing a dark color, but I have some tips for dark colors too, because your dark colors, so this color was called Forest Green. I'm looking for the tops of my carrots and then probably some other details too. And looking at it, color is really just a preference thing. Once again, I think it's too blue for me for what I want it to be for. And I know that I need to add a little yellow to make it more green. So I'm going to now I'm back to using a Wilton color. I bought Wilton colors. This is the reason why I don't love Wilton colors as much. They're harder to get out. And I feel like I'm dirtying 100 things or throwing away a ton of Q-tips. Not toothpicks, toothpicks. So I know that yellow will make this more of a true green if I added the right amount, which, you know. Now I'm doing Easter cookies, so I'm okay with them being paler colors. To me, they don't need to be the true colors for this because Easter, in my mind, I'm all about the pastels. Okay, so I have that mixed. Now, looking at it, I'm still concerned that it's a little too thin. I'm afraid it's not going to hold its shape very well. And I can also tell that I've probably overmixed it a little bit because I'm getting bubbles. Both will be fine, but it's just something that you have to work through, and obviously you don't want to do. So I am going to add a little bit more green, and then I have to stir it again, which, like I said, I don't want to do. But all right, so now for filling the bags. My hack for filling the bags is I like to use a glass cup, and I'm going to switch views for you because I think it'll be a little bit better view. If you can see me instead. Well, maybe. Let me tip it down a little bit. Bear with me. Okay, so don't mind my house. I have a glass here, just a water cup. And I am going to use, I think I should be able to use this one, the smaller one. And I just open it up, put it in, and then around the cup a little ways so that I'm not getting frosting near the top. Because when you have a mess of frosting, it's kind of a disaster. Then I am just going to fill. Now, I have a spoon. I recommend a rubber scraper works much better, depending how many you have. or if you're willing to wash a lot of them, you can use a lot of them. I have one somewhere. And it's also easier to do when you don't have a phone sitting 3 inches above. So I'm trying not to get frosting all over my phone. And also trying to fill. I apologize, that noise is probably not lovely on your end. Okay. Now I do try to scrape out as much as I can because I will then use this same bowl for a color that's a little darker. And I try to use my bowls as much as I can because I don't like doing dishes. If you know, I asked my husband, I'm really good at making dishes, but I'm not very good at cleaning them. So I try to not get too much dirty. So then as you pull it up, I still have a lot on the spoon here. So I will then take the spoon and rub it on the inside of the bag to clean it off. So my thumb is on the outside and the frosting in the spoon is on the inside. Okay. At that point, I take it out of here. I'm going to switch views for you again. Okay, so I'm back on here. Now, things I have done, we're a little worried that this one's going to be too thin. And even sometimes I put it in the bag and I have to add more powdered sugar. Usually means I have to take it out and start over, but it'll be okay. So then you obviously need to push down the frosting as much as you can to close it, to create a seal, to make it easier for you. And then you need to spin it. Now, my favorite tool to keep my bags closed is chip clips. And these are the little chip clips, which I really like. I also have, and I probably should have used a bigger bag, it'll work, but all right, so I have it on there. And then when I'm ready to use it, I will cut off the tip of the frosting. Other things that I use is I've also purchased these. They're like little rubber bands. And they go, if this is the bag, if my finger's the bag, you put them around. They work okay. I don't know that I'd buy them again. I find either they are too tight, and they hook like that on your bag. I find that they're either too tight or they're not tight enough. So I just don't love them. If I were to buy something again, I would definitely just buy more of the mini chip clips. I do use big ones when I need to. However, I don't love them. The little ones work so much better. So that's how you fill a frosting bag.